Welcome back. A summer vacation may look like a break from real life, but the bill can follow you home long after the trip is over.
It sure can, but to help with planning a vacation that stays with you long after, not the bill, you've come back home. Of course, we have Lauren Sprung, founder of Mitlin Financial and the author of Financial Planning Made Personal.
Great to have you with us today, Larry. There's plenty that we're going to go into with solutions, but let's start with some of the ways that people may be paying more than they have to.
Yeah, so I mean, the airline industry is strapped, so we're seeing costs go up just for the ticket. Then you're having baggage fees and other miscellaneous fees. So sometimes it's just as easy as looking at maybe a higher ticket class. Although it's more expensive, right? You may get a guaranteed seat as a result and also get bags included so you don't have to worry about paying those pesky baggage fees. We just did it recently. My son was traveling and the first class ticket was like $80 more and he had 3 bags and they were going to cover them all. So it really made sense to just pay the $80 more for the ticket and have the bags included rather than paying for them a la carte.
Yeah, there's all kinds of costs when you travel. Parking can be expensive. What are some other tips you've seen for air travel?
Yeah, so I mean, you have to look around, especially at providers that you're using consistently. We're a Delta family. We try to use Delta as much as possible, Marriott, things like that. So if you keep your brands aligned with those, a lot of times you could get points, discounts. There are a lot of benefits to using those over and over again rather than just sporadically using others. Sometimes a $5 higher a night fee at a hotel might benefit you because you could use points to reduce your overall cost of stay at the hotel.
And there are so many deals on offer, especially around this time of year. But you're saying also you don't even need to start with those. You can look right at your own credit cards.
Yeah, I mean, having loyalty, brand loyalty is being rewarded these days. So try to, if you don't have brand loyalty, start thinking about building that because that could be beneficial. I think if you're going to travel, and this is really difficult for families, but some of the best deals are had either well in advance, which really caters to families, right? Or you have to do it last minute. If you're trying to, book a family vacation in the middle, that's where sometimes you get squeezed and the prices aren't as beneficial to you, more beneficial to the airlines, hotels, etc.
In terms of other types of perks that one could find with travel in the planning phase, where else can you look to maybe come around a few corners and shave off, some of the costs that are associated?
Yeah, I mean, not even costs. Let's talk about time, which time is money to some degree, right? We've come out of a situation where TSA lines were building up and people were online for, in some cases, hours, right? So look at your credit cards, because I know ones that I have give you credits towards TSA PreCheck, global entry. These are things that will save you time. You just go sign up, pay the bill, and the credit card company gives you that credit towards that fee. So now you can save literally, in some cases, hours of waiting online by those simple benefits. Also, we all know about the travel disruptions that happen, right? Make sure and understand what your benefits are embedded in the credit card that you're using to book the trip. Because if something gets delayed, baggage gets lost, that can impact and help you recover some of those lost costs. So there are a lot of benefits embedded in our credit cards. It's all in that fine print that most of us don't read. Understand what's available to you and what you can utilize.
And we talk a lot about forming a budget more broadly, but when it comes to summer vacation budgets, what's the right price? Obviously the actual figure will be different for each family, but how would you recommend setting the threshold?
It has to fit into the family budget, and you have to do that in advance. You can't just all of a sudden come April decide to book the family summer vacation and think that you have an unlimited budget. So you have to start outlining what that budget is, probably after you get home from the last trip. And I would caution people, be very careful. A family vacation's not something that you want to throw on the credit card and then pay off over the next 1, 2, 10 years. You're paying 19, 20% in some cases for that family vacation. It doesn't make sense to do that. Start looking at using some of these other ideas that we talked about to reduce the overall cost, and then you'll be in a better position so you don't have to put it on the credit card, stretch it out, pay all that additional interest. So you really want to create that budget that's right for you and your family.
Yeah, that's a great setup to my next question, because a lot of times people forget the meaning of the family vacation in the first place, as if it's another box to check as being a good mom or dad. So how do you suggest to your clients how to have perspective when, because for a lot of families, this is one of the largest investments they'll make throughout the year?
Yeah, I mean, it's all about experiences, right? I mean, and it's also somewhat age dependent, right? Kids, the younger they are, they're not going to necessarily remember every nook and cranny that you did on that family vacation, but they're going to remember the things that made them laugh, that made them feel feelings of joy. And it really depends on the family. It could be as simple as going out to a lake and renting a boat and going out on a boat and going tubing. Some of the best memories my kids have are going tubing and, brother flipped off the boat or, something like that. It doesn't have to be this extravagant, Disney vacation or going to Europe or things like that. It could be simple experiences, and sometimes those are the most meaningful.
And at the same time, you're together, hopefully creating all these beautiful memories, but out of your normal schedule, there's a lot more opportunities for the kids to express things they want to, for the parents to buy on these experiences. And I wonder if you have any advice on how to manage expectations around those experiences when it comes to keeping within your budget.
Yeah, budget for them, and have a budget, and don't blow that budget, and be very mindful about it. And I think it's also a good opportunity to teach your kids about wants versus needs and what a budget is all about. And hey, maybe instead of getting this thing that you want to buy today that will probably not be touched after we got home, why don't we do this instead and redeploy those monies into an experience instead of coming back with a thing? And it's a good educational experience to show them about those things, but it's important to have that construct around it so that you're not blowing the budget. Because it's very easy to plan the vacation in the budget, and then you go there and then you're buying this, you're buying that. And I could tell you from personal experience, we've done that. Everybody has. And we probably have a pile of that stuff sitting in our house somewhere that hasn't been looked at since we bought it on that family vacation. So, be mindful of that.
And as we start to finish up, I want to kind of go back to a previous time where people used travel agents. You mentioned time is money. Do you see that trend coming back at all?
I use travel agents for certain things. My family and I are going on a cruise to Europe this summer for my oldest son's college graduation, and we hired a travel agent for that very purpose. We just didn't have the time to plan what the best itinerary was. We gave them the time horizon we were looking to go in and how many days and where we were looking to go, and then they came back with some ideas. So, listen, the travel agent, you're not necessarily paying them anything. Usually the provider is. Somehow there are people out there that truly enjoy vacation planning. My family, my wife, and my oldest son happen to be one of them. But at the same time, there are people that they do this every day, day in and day out, that there is benefits there. And if it's not going to cost you or your family any more money, get back that time so you don't have to plan that piece out and spend that additional time with the family, and then just make a decision on where you want to go and how you want to spend that time.
Well, great to speak with you today. Thanks for all these great tips, Lawrence Sprung.
Thank you.